My name is Max, and my dog, Bruno, is completely convinced that he works for a secret government agency. At least, that's the only explanation I can find for his behavior. Every morning starts the same way. Bruno sits by the window, staring outside like he's monitoring enemy activity. The mailman walks past, and Bruno immediately jumps into action. Intruder detected! Well, he doesn't actually say that, but his barking definitely means it. One day, I decided to test my theory. I put on sunglasses, a black jacket, and walked into the living room. Bruno froze. He slowly approached me, sniffed my shoes, circled me twice, and then sat down. I swear he looked disappointed. Apparently my disguise wasn't good enough. Things got stranger after that. A week later, my mother bought a robotic vacuum cleaner. The moment Bruno saw it move, he launched into what can only be described as a tactical operation. He followed it from room to room. He hid behind furniture. He peeked around corners. Whenever the vacuum turned toward him, he'd retreat strategically. Whenever it turned away, he'd creep closer. This battle lasted 3 hours. Eventually, the vacuum returned to its charging station. Bruno stood over it, victorious. The enemy had surrendered. For the next 2 days, he checked the charging station every hour to make sure it wasn't planning a surprise attack. But Bruno's greatest mission happened last summer. My family went on a picnic at a park. Everything was peaceful until a squirrel appeared. The squirrel was sitting under a tree, doing absolutely nothing. Bruno noticed it. The squirrel noticed Bruno. For 3 seconds, neither moved. Then Bruno took off like a rocket. The squirrel sprinted up the tree. Bruno reached the trunk and began barking furiously. The squirrel climbed higher. Bruno barked louder. The squirrel climbed even higher. This continued for 10 minutes. Finally, Bruno sat down beneath the tree and waited. And waited. And waited. An entire hour passed. The squirrel never came down. Bruno refused to leave. People walked by and started asking questions. How long has he been there? About an hour. Is he okay? I think he's negotiating. Eventually, my father picked Bruno up and carried him away. Bruno kept staring at the tree the entire time, probably promising revenge. Months later, we returned to the same park. The moment we arrived, Bruno ran straight to that exact tree. Not the wrong tree, not a similar tree, the exact same tree. He looked up. The squirrel wasn't there. Bruno searched around for a few minutes before finally giving up. Then he walked back to us with the saddest expression I'd ever seen. It was like he'd traveled across the country to settle an old score, only to discover that his rival had already retired. To this day, Bruno still patrols the house, monitors suspicious vacuum cleaners, and protects us from dangerous mail deliveries. The funny thing is that he's actually terrible at being a guard dog. Last week, a burglar could probably have walked through the front door, and Bruno wouldn't have cared. Why? Because he was too busy barking at his own reflection in the glass door. Secret agent? Maybe. Good secret agent? Absolutely not.